6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes for an adult conversation on the result yesterday. I do not want to hear any Eddie Howe out stuff in the chat because I'll just scroll over it. It's as simple as that. Don't want to hear it. I'm wearing a different hoodie as well tonight. Hope you're all happy. Right. Let's get the usual boring stuff out the way before I bring you in. We were expecting our Luton Town friend Simon to be with us, but he's running either late or just forgot, or I would have thought you'd be buzzing to be on tonight. But there's the link if you want to become a member. It's 99p or upwards. All the money goes back into the running of the channel and going into prizes. So just remember that. If you're a member, you get a chance to win some prizes. Hello from Lee. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share to your social. Bottom right-hand corner, you can super chat if you want to. It really does help. Hi, Lee. Hi. Evening, Gary. Good to see you on your new account again. I don't know what your old one's not working. Lee, fantastic to see you in, and congratulations on ordering those T-shirts from Dire Crow, our sponsor. So Lee won $40 to spend on what you wanted on their website. Link is in the description. You can also purchase anything you want for 20% off, but hopefully you'll win a prize in the future if you remember. And don't forget, Football Prizes, another amazing sponsor. They give me £100 a month to give away to our members to their website. So it's credit to buy tickets to hopefully win amazing prizes like this Alan Shearer signed frame shirt. This is bespoke because in the middle of it is a TV that plays every single goal he scored. So you literally could be standing looking at your wall, watching Alan Shearer bang goals in left, right, and centre, because once it starts playing, you just got to keep on watching, haven't you? So there we are. Right, let's bring Ian in, and hopefully Simon will be in later. How are we doing, Ian?
Good evening, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thanks. My back spasms have stopped. I've took some amazing painkillers. So, yeah, I'm a little bit, all good because of that. Honestly, my back was killing. Dan Burn, here we go. Dan Burn out. We are going to come to it, guys. We're not going to smooth over it. We are going to have a conversation about Dan Burn. Don't you worry. But let's talk about the whole game, because it wasn't just Dan Burn's fault yesterday. There was 4 goals scored, and he wasn't at fault for all 4 of them. So people need to remember this. But we are here to talk about Fulltyne, Fulltyne as I like to call it. It finished 4-4. It's not what we expected. A lot of people were expecting 4 goals, but not to be in the other column as well. So very frustrating. But before we get into the game, I want to say well done to War Flags. They put out a statement yesterday. Their display was fantastic, and it was calling out the Premier League with regards to kickoff times. Villa away Tuesday night, 8:15 p.m. Liverpool away New Year's Day, 8 p.m. Fulham away on a Saturday, 7 p.m. Arsenal away Saturday, 8 p.m. You know, it's about time football clubs started fighting back, isn't it, Ian? I mean, the fans get abused, in my eyes, from Sky Sports because they plough all the money in. There's a lot of the times on those games, there was no travel back home. So it's amazing that all those fans still travelled. Fulham tried to do a protest for their club for prices when it came to the FA Cup. But there's got to be more other. I know it's hard not to go to games, but until away fans maybe lock themselves outside for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and show Sky and show TNT and show all these broadcasters that they're not having it anymore, because it's not fair on football fans, is it?
No, for me, that display didn't get shown on TV though. It was
doesn't surprise me.
Which was just when I because obviously I watched it from home. I seen the big wave coming up, and I went, do you know what it is? I was at that game when that came out, that the big wave, and I was buzzing about that, and I hadn't a clue what was going on in the Gallagher's. until I seen it on Twitter later on of the kickoff times, which is rightly so, which people should be aware of that. And I mean, we're not the only club that's fallen for this.
No, it's not just us; it's everyone.
Yeah. But the thing, it's prime time TV, where I can understand that they want to put the best games on at a good time of TV, but when it's, I mean, we seem to be the victims of it. I know, but it's like, I know what you're saying, but we kind of like seem to be the victims of it. It's always seemed to be at a ridiculous time where, like you said, there's no travel coming back. And even if, like, because London's so big and they've got so many clubs in London, an 8 o'clock kickoff doesn't mean nothing to them. And because obviously the travel, you'll do 25 minutes or half an hour in a car or 45.
To be fair, though, you say that there's a lot of fans who live outside London who support London clubs. So you've got to feel a bit sorry for them sometimes, haven't you? So I see what you're saying about the majority of people who support London,
especially the ones that's travelling to Man United.
Yeah, exactly. From London to Man United. To watch Man United as Man United fans.
Watch Man United. But I can understand the frustration, but where do you draw the line? Because clubs rely on this TV money as well to generate funds to go forward. So what do? Do you take the TV money away from our clubs and then you're going to be suffering again? I understand the frustration of the fans, right? But do you know what it is? We've got such a hardcore fan base where it showed the other week. We went to Fulham. There was no travel back, but then they travelled all the way again, Aston Villa, and ridiculous to come back. I know it's going to cost a lot of money for them, but the diehards will always do that no matter what time it is. Is it right? I don't agree with it, but it's, where do you draw the line with TV? It's TV to Amazon and Sky and ITV and your BBCs will always dictate what time football matches are, and the football club will always benefit off the money of it. And unfortunately, right with across the board, the fans will suffer in the pockets, and that's what it is. And we can't. It's not nice, but we can't change it.
Yeah, I agree. So all fans are asking for times to be fair and reasonable. I mean, so they should.
But what? I mean, years ago there was, when you were watching the FA Cup, right? They'd pick one game and they'd put it on, right? And they would put one game on. And do you know what it is? The fans then would be going, "Why isn't my club on? Why isn't my club not?" Do you know how is it fair that Man United's playing Yeovil, say for instance, in a cup game? Why is Man United getting picked all the time? Why is Arsenal getting picked all the time? Now you've got an opportunity where you've got a much bigger broadcasting situation where you've got your ITVs, your BBCs, you've got other platforms where you can watch your club. So it's great, but like I say, it's not nice for the travelling fans. I totally agree with that, but it's right way across the board where these fans are affected. But like I say, the revenue that the club brings in, it's for us, and just remember that.
Yeah. No, I get that. Do people get a chance to speak, Connor? If you wanted to be on the show, it's the sort of thing you need to, DM me on Twitter to preempt that you want to come on a show in the future. Then we can get you on. If you can, but this show, it's myself and Ian, and I was hoping Simon, but he's not made it. So you can have your say in the chat, and we'll read it out and we'll discuss it if we've got time, which we normally do. There is another way of doing it. So the way the channels are now, they could televise all 3 p.m. kickoffs on different channels. So that was one thing I was going to mention, is to talk about all this revenue just from Sky and TNT, whatever that is. But surely Newcastle United should be able to sell their own season ticket to show games, like especially home games. I mean, that could bring in a lot of money as well, couldn't it? Because you could sell that across the whole world, a TV package for Newcastle games on a 3 p.m.
But then, if like
fans are still going to go. For me, fans will still go.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. But it's then you would take away. In hindsight, you'd go, well, I've made the effort to spend in such and such a go here. I made such, but I'm going to save now because it's on the TV. I know I want to follow. Will get them ones that will pull away, but then you'll go down the corporate side where everybody's got the money to do it, and everybody's complaining about the corporate sitting inside St James's Park. Mind the happy clappers, whatever. So there's a fine line there where you can kind of cross where, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, see, the differences in different countries is, in America, if they sell their stadium out, they'll show a 3 o'clock kickoff live on TV.
Right.
If they don't sell it out, they won't show it. But that's, I mean, we would show it nearly every single week.
Well, I think what he means is that America is showing the 3 p.m. kickoffs in the UK regardless. And I've heard some of the prices that they pay. There's some people pay $15 a month to get basically like a Sky Sports in America that show every single Premier League game at 3 o'clock.
But that'll be Peacock.
We're the only country that has the blackout.
Yeah. But that's the Premiership's got the rights for that.
Yeah. But which is mental to me, which is why I think like Newcastle and all the other clubs, over 20 clubs say, right, where we've now worked out we can earn the exact same money that you can offer us on Sky by selling a package to our fans. And I bet you they would drop their arse. Yeah,
but then, say, for instance, we've got the money to do that and we've got that. So what happens if the so-called lower clubs can't afford to do that? So where do you draw the line with the fairness of football? So it's, for me, it's just a kind of, yes, we've got the power to go. Of course, we've got the money to do it. But then you've got to have some kind of level of ability where every club's equal to have that same stance of watching their own football club. Like you've just got to, it's one of them ones where, of course, we want to watch the football club. Everybody wants to watch the football club. But if the Premier League's got the rights for a 3 o'clock, and do you know what it is? If me personally, right the way out through the Premier League, if we lose them 3 o'clock rights, I would say some of them attendances go right down in certain games. I really do. Because it's easy for, like myself, if I can't go to a game, just to sit and watch it on the TV, which I think it benefits the Premier League by not having that 3 o'clock right.
Potentially. Yeah, it's one of those debatable ones we could talk about all night, isn't it?
Yeah,
about how we
can.
Personally, I think there's certain people who own football clubs who own also TVs, TV channels and stuff like that. So why can't they all come together under one bracket and say, right, let's make our own streaming service or whatever it would be to stream certain games, charge a certain amount, and get rid of Sky and get rid of all these kickoff times. That's it. There's got to be a way.
Yeah. See, there's another thing where, because obviously we're building the stack outside of St James's, right? Then there was going,
yes,
we're going to get 3,500 fans outside of St James's watching a 3 o'clock kickoff. But how can you broadcast a 3 o'clock kickoff there? But then everybody's asking, why can't I watch a 3 o'clock kickoff in a bar down the road? It's kind of...
It's a monopoly for that area. It's a monopoly for the stack, isn't it? But it's a monopoly for the club. They show them in Shearers anyway, don't they, at the moment? They still show 3 p.m. home games in Shearers because technically it's on the ground where it's actually being played, and they show it in the lobbies anyway, don't they? So, but the stack are going to have, I believe they're going to be just like what they do with the ballot. They'll have people putting a ballot in to go to the stack. So it will be a closed shop for those games. So Premier League TV channel 1 subscription for all games. Yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, it probably won't, but it could happen. It's just a shame that we have to go through all this on a Monday night, on a Friday night. I mean, Friday night football, it was never a thing, was it? Ever?
No. See, for me, it's always been obviously Monday night was brought in, but I always trained on a Monday, so it was always Tuesday. It was like Tuesday or Wednesday midweekers, and then you would always just play Saturday or Sunday, and that was it. But again, TV talks, so you got your Fridays. Apart from a Thursday when we're not in Europe, right? You play nearly every day of the week. You don't play a Friday, but you play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You play Saturday, Sunday. So you've only got your Friday off. So for a football fan, do you know what it is? We love watching football, right? So there's football there. I mean, my wife's going nuts because I just watch football all the time. She's sick of football, and it's because it's there. It's right there in front of you for sometimes 6-7 days a week, man.
It is, It is. I mean, some of the Saturday, Sundays, you can start at 12:30 in the afternoon and you can go all the way through to, I mean, I used to go to a pub on a Sunday, start at 12 o'clock, watch the Scottish game, then watch the 2 Premier League games, and then watch a Spanish game on the night time. So,
I like horse racing as well. I can't even fit your horse racing because there's football on all the
time. You need more TVs. I love it. Right, let's talk about the game because I mean it was a thriller for the neutral. It was very frustrating for Newcastle fans. The Luton fans must have been in cloud nine until we pulled it back. But there's a lot of. I mean, we're going to talk more about the performance than actual particular points in the game. But there's a lot of people saying it was a poor performance. I mean, personally, how can you have a poor performance when you score 4 goals? It was poor in bits, but it wasn't a poor performance, was it?
No. I mean, there were certain individuals I think obviously had a poor game, which stood out.
Yes.
But you know, fair play to Luton, because I always judge a game by the kickoff, right? It's either your first tackle or your first header. Luton, they kicked off. They just went straight on the front foot, played around our midfield, and just pushed us right into our bottom corner. And they got 2 quick consecutive throw-ins right in our.
Made it difficult for us to get out, didn't it? Straight away.
Right in our bottom corner. And do you know what it is? I just thought, do you know what it is? That set the tone for this game for Luton Town. And I just thought to myself, these aren't going to just turn over. These are because normally they'll take the ball back, they'll play it across the back and just have a little bit and then just be negative or whatever. Nah, these wanted to play on the front foot and commit bodies forward. And I just thought, do you know what it is? It's going to be a cracking game, this one.
And it really was. And I thought we played some lovely football at times, the way we cut through them. And that showed for the first goal, because it was a beautifully worked goal. A great pull back, because it was a great spot. Sean Longstaff did a Rob Lee ghosting into the box at the last minute, and he stroked it into the corner. And I was like, oh, yes, this is beautiful. You know, because we had no recognised striker, remember? There was no Isaac, there was no Wilson. Wilson was on the bench. And for us to carve them open the way we did, and I thought that was how we were going to score all our goals that day. There was no throwing the ball into the box. There was no height. You know, it was literally had to be precision crosses. And that set the tone for me when we scored that first goal. I thought, right, let's see some more of that. It was a great goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was Luton again on the front foot, right? And then we broke it down with good defending. But Lewis Miley found that little pocket of space, which was like in between. And to be honest, when he played that ball, I thought it looked flat, right? And I thought the defender was just going to intercept it and run onto it. But it just goes to show how good that ball was, right? It just, what a ball out for Trippier, right? And Trippier just played it into his stride. Lovely first touch. And he has that look where he could have easily played it across the front, which was like a no-hope ball. He picks the ball into space. And then obviously Longstaff's running on late and just puts it in the bottom corner. Longstaff of late's probably put them over the crossbar, like at Fulham he did. Great control. Lovely little finish at the bottom corner. And to be honest, the way Luton started and the way obviously we scored that goal, I thought, God, when you score goals at the right time, like we did at Villa, that was the right time to score against these, because I thought they brought the game to us. But it was like the ball from Miley was absolutely superb. Touch from Trippier, lovely ball inside, and a great finish from Sean Longstaff. It was fantastic. What a start!
It was a great start, and then we were controlling the game. Potentially could have maybe got a second if Miggy had put in a better ball. I remember him going down the left and Murphy was at the back post, so he tried to cut it back in a similar area that Trippier did, and it phased out. But their first goal we're going to talk about, because we've got some pictures and we've got a few little things. First of all, the free kick should have been avoidable. There was no way we should have given away a silly free kick like we did.
Bottom was naive. He just tried to get tight. And I can see what he tries to do, because if he nicks inside of that, he then becomes on top of it, and then we can play. But when against a player that's clever, when he knows if somebody's going to be coming in from behind, he's a big, strong, tough bugger. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was a bit naive for me, and he should have just kind of stood off. Especially if it was one of them ones where it's in no man's land to make the tackle. Yeah. But it's dangerous, becomes a free kick if you make that foul.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to show you still. So you pointed this out, that the danger man who headed the ball back across. Now, are we man marking or are we zonal marking? That's the thing that needs to be first figured out. And it looks like to me we're trying to keep a line and we're zonal marking rather than man marking.
Well, I think it's in between a zonal and a high line. When the free kick was first put out, I just thought, Jesus, that is high. Now, for me, he's a danger man, and he can run onto your shoulder and he can header the ball. So for me, I would have put a tall one on. I would have put Dan Burn or a Sven Botman on him. Now, if you have a look at our defenders, yes, it's kind of zonal, but if you have a look, not one of them is picking up a player. So when the ball comes in, he makes that curved run, and then it's a mismatch between Kieran Trippier and Miley. And everybody else, and Sean Longstaff becomes ball watching. Everybody blames Botman. It's not. It's the first phase should have been dealt with better. The second phase is Sean Longstaff ball watching. It goes over the top. It's a great finish in with a header. But for me,
yeah, I mean the header back across goal for me, Sean Longstaff's not picking up the goal scorer, but at the back post, like you mentioned, they're 2-on-1, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, and I mean it's not one of them. Not one of them looks over the shoulder on the first clip though to see. What's he doing? I know he's standing in an offside position, right? But he still should have been looked at because he was never, ever going to stand in that offside position in my eyes. He was always going to make that run round the back because that's where the ball was always going to be because he is one of the best headers about on his team. Yeah. But not one of our big defenders actually go with him to prevent that. And then when you go...
they all stay in the middle, don't they?
All just stay there. And when you're going towards your goal... Longstaff watches the first. I've watched it. I've seen it about 3 or 4 times now. Longstaff watches the first free kick comes in, then he watches the one over the top of his head. So it's ball watching all over, but it's poor defending all over from Newcastle United. Poor defending.
Yeah, and that let them back into the game so quickly after going ahead 7 minutes. 21 minutes later, we're 1-1. But then again. 2 minutes later, we go back to 2-1 again. And again, it's Sean Longstaff who ghosts in. Smart finish again. Absolutely thrilled for him because he's been getting a lot of stick recently. He hasn't been hitting the target like he should do. And today was his day. And a lot of people said he had a bad game. I don't think he did. I think he made a mistake, which we'll talk about soon. But I think overall, the midfield three had a good game. But what did you make of the second goal?
But... Again, though, after we scored that equalise, they scored equalise.
Yeah,
Luton just went on the front foot again, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
they just went. Do you know? They played right now in our final third, and it came about where we defended quite well, and it broke down to Miggy on our side, and Miggy played a lovely ball down the side for Gordon, and Gordon just absolutely accelerated away from Oshaw. And then Oshaw kind of played him down that left-hand side. Gordon came back inside and just hit that target, what he had to do. And obviously Longstaff, he just followed in. He just played a lovely one in the bottom corner. But again, it just showed what Luton were all about on the day, actually. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter when you score or we score, we're just going to attack you. So even so, we're going to throw bodies forward. But I mean, I thought Gordon's pace on the turn was exceptional.
It was brilliant how he did it as well because he looked like he was going to go back towards goal, and suddenly he just went and didn't he? And that was it. He was away.
But for me, having that number 9 through the middle, we kind of suffered at times because Gordon's main threats always came from down the side and never came through the middle, which his strengths are. But it was fantastic from Gordon. Great. It was direct, fantastic pace. Cut inside. I mean, people are a little bit thinking about the goalkeeper where he parried it in the middle, but it was a good shot on target. But obviously, Longstaff
he hit it well
into the bottom corner, and 2-1. He will go.
Yeah, we've got to obviously single out probably the best player for Luton on the day for me was that Ogban. I know he had Dan Burn up against him, but he still made him look very average, didn't he? How quick that lad was. There was a few times he got in down the right-hand side. Caused a lot of trouble. He got the second highest rating for Luton. Morris was the other person we singled out in that free kick. He had a very good game, but Ogben was fantastic, wasn't he? And he was heavily involved in a lot of everything that Luton did well, which was target Dan Burn and use his pace, especially in the first half.
Yeah. If if you've got an asset like him with his pace, you're always going to target Dan Burn. But it doesn't, like every team that we play that they've got they've got players of that caliber with that pace, that directness is always going to give Dan Burn a problem. Now, when it works, it stands out like a sore thumb, and the finger always gets pointed at how shit Dan Burn is.
Yeah.
Now, he's been up against some of the top wingers in Europe, mind, this season. PSG, nobody ever said he was shit and he needed to come off. And he was up against a top player at AC Milan. He was up against, and he was up against a top player just at Fulham. And he came away with man of the match. Now, obviously, I'm the left back brigade, right? If you've got a defender with lax pace, you've got to support him. And I think he was left isolated at times and wide open at times, mind and all, where he's been left vulnerable. Now, if you turn the clock back when we played Arsenal away and Saka absolutely destroyed Dan Burn at their place for the first 10 minutes, right? And all Eddie Howe does was he dropped Joe Linton straight in on his toes that day, and he protected him, and we came out on top, right? And we were more solid. We haven't got that defensive luxury to do that at the minute. The way the game's spanned out, so I just think, do you know what it is? Some days you have the best game of your life. Some days you're gonna be tough. But unfortunately, because Dan Burn hasn't got the skill, he hasn't got the flair or to stand out to get away. Like if things would be tough, he hasn't got like the Kieran Trippier way of just whip a ball in and just that's forgotten about. That's forgotten about now. He'll just, because Dan Burn's a steady Eddie, right? He'll never change the way he plays. He'll always give 110%. He's a 7.5 to a 9 every single week. And just when things are happening like that, just for me, it boils my piss how he gets the finger pointed at him just because he's had a bad first half. But like I say, he's up against it. Kieran Trippier was up against Doku and Man City, right? I mean, Doku's absolutely terrorised the life out of players, right? And Kieran Trippier, because he's got more quality, right? Doku turned Trippier inside out. But because Trippier's got a brain and he's an England international and he's got better quality than Dan Burn, he learns from it and then becomes a better player. So everybody forgets about when he's had his arse ripped out. Do you know what I mean? But because Dan Burn's not that, everybody picks on the shit about it. It frustrates me because, we know he's not a left back, right? We know he's been brought in for minimum pounds to help us get through last season. But last season, nobody ever complained about him because did he complain when he scored against Leicester? Did he complain? Do you know? You've got to remember these things. What he's done for this football club, just because he's had a bad game. Jesus Christ! Well, I've had to come off Twitter this afternoon because what I've seen about Dan Burn, it was just absolute. It's wrong. Like
it is massively wrong, and I agree with a lot of people. You can have your opinion and say he had a bad game. This is what I would prefer to see, blah, 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 blah. But the actual abuse that he's received,
that's different.
And directed at him, personally to him, it's not on, to be fair. But we'll talk about the second goal, because the second goal had nothing to do with Dan Burn.
Do you know what it is, Baz? I'm always the one for when you've got to, for criticism, you've got to have, my head's gone blank now. Positive criticism, that's it. Right?
Positive criticism, yeah.
Yeah. So if things aren't doing right, you've got to pick the positive now. You cannot just be so negative and just rip into pieces. You've got to think about why he's done that or what's been done and what could have changed to make that situation better. And to me, there's just none of that. What I've seen today, none of it, mate.
Yeah, exactly. What's up that picture, Baz? Oh, I don't know what pick we're talking about. We'll talk about the second goal, because the second goal had nothing to do with Dan Burn, and it all had to do with Longstaff and Miley making a mistake in midfield. They got in each other's way. Barkley picks up the ball because of that. He runs the whole length of the Newcastle half, literally had the keys to St James's Park, the amount of time that he had. And we've seen this before because it happened against Forest. He picked a clever pass down the left-hand side. The shot, should Dubravka have done better, because he palms it right into the middle of the goal. Barkley then slots it home to an open net, really. Should Dubravka have got a better hand to it and not palmed it into danger? Could he have done better? That's the only thing I can think that you can stop that goal, other than not making that mistake in midfield as well. Because he ran the whole length. No, I mean, do you take him down? I don't know.
See, for me, with Murphy and Longstaff, they were kind of hanging their legs, and Murphy tried to get that one, like just trying to nick it the way out the back of Bartley. Longstaff then just tries to nick it again. For me, you're in an important area of the pitch. You've just got to go there and make sure you win that ball.
Hit him.
But then it takes two players straight out the equation, and it allows them to have that space and run into about 20 yards of space that we should have had a player in. Doherty on the outside. He had a quietish game, right? And that was probably the only time he came down that side. Bartley plays a lovely pass into him, and all he had to do was hit an area. He hits an area, which obviously Dubravka palms. It was a bit like the Longstaff goal, to be honest. But fair play to Bartley. Doesn't give up on what he does. Carries on his running.
He carries on.
Expects the knockdown. What a good player does, and it puts it in the back of the net too. Bad goal on Newcastle United side. A good goal from the Luton side.
Yeah, good break. But again, it's just that, do we need a 6? Because that was the position where he just ran into. But for me, it's a mistake from the two players, isn't it?
I don't think the 6 comes into the equation at all. I think the two players around that ball, Murphy and Longstaff, should have been so much stronger to stop that, especially how close they were. I mean, he just taps the ball away from Murphy, just taps the ball away from Longstaff, not even to commit a tackle. In them areas, to be honest, you go full-blooded. If that was what you call it from Aston Villa, who we're talking about the other night, he scored yesterday.
Bailey.
The
one that Arsenal won.
National,
The one that Arsenal won.
The Scottish international, the midfielder who plays for Villa.
Left-footed.
Yeah,
McGinn.
Do you think that came away if McGinn was there?
No, he would have nailed him.
McGinn would have went bang. He would have took that ball off him. And if he did, if he walked away from that ball, he would have been on the floor. That's the difference of being aggressive in the right areas, and then that wouldn't have happened. But like I say, good goal on the Luton side, bad goal for Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you what, another thing that I noticed in the first half before we get into the second half was Miley. There was a time we went down the right-hand side, and Miley had his arms up like this. I want the ball, I want the ball. And he was 20 yards away from the goal. And by the time the ball got crossed, which was a poor cross in the end, he only made it to the edge of the box. He looked knackered. And I don't know if he was knackered or whether that was just his pace. I don't know. He should have been bursting a gut to get to that back post, and he wasn't.
It was Miley made some crud runs first half in behind again.
He did.
We spoke about the way when Gordon's playing on that side, he kind of kills his space, but he does make them runs beyond on that left-hand side. Which I thought he had he gave the ball away a few times in tight areas, but that you're right, he kind of hung out to the 18-yard box, but if the ball was better, he could have been on the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. Could have had an easy tap in at the back post.
But has he got that defensive mindset in him to make sure that he hangs out there just in case we just don't know?
Possibly.
You've got to sometimes you just got to gamble to get in there to get on the end of it.
Without a doubt. So the second half, Callum Wilson comes on for Anthony Gordon, which we'll talk about soon after the game, because obviously he goes off injured. Precaution, maybe, I hope, we don't know. But Morris, who was a handful all game, wins a penalty, or scores the penalty, sorry. But it's Ogban who makes the run into the box. Now, I didn't know this because I got schooled on the rules of football, as you do when you put something out there. For me, the initial contact was outside the box because he had his arm on his shoulder about 2 yards outside the penalty box before he ran into it. Because he stays on his feet, he gets into the box and Dan Burn continues to grab him. And Ogban is very clever because as soon as he gets inside the box and he feels that contact, he's gone down and he wins the penalty. Now, the rule is apparently if a defender is pulling a player back and he stays on his feet and he gets into the box, then goes down, the referee has to give a penalty. It used to be first point of contact. That's where the foul should be given. But now it's if the player stays on his feet and then it continues into the box, it's a penalty. So I have got no complaints over the award of the penalty now after reading that rule. I didn't know it had changed. Did you know it changed?
No, but I thought when I seen the substitutions at half time, I didn't expect Callum Wilson to come on because I didn't know about Anthony Gordon, but I was expecting Dan Burn to be took off at half time.
Yeah, I think everyone did.
Yeah, I just thought he was having a one of them, and I just thought it was right to take him off, just simply because of pace. And getting back to the pen. Again, it was just
stupid, isn't it?
It was a blistering pace alongside, and Dan Burn knew he was beat, and he has a go at him first, and then he has a go at him again. It's a pen. I just said straight away. I just couldn't believe I couldn't believe the referee didn't point to the spot. He waited until the linesman flagged his flag, then to make a decision to say, right, I haven't got a clue what's gone on here. He's confronted with his linesman, and then he's went to VAR. And VAR's been his ear, and then everything comes up, is it in? Then he pointed as a penalty. I thought it was a pen all day long. I really did. He got caught wrong side, Dan Burn, pulled him, and it was a pen. I can't complain, it was just a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. And he should just let the player go at that situation. There was a covering defender in Botman who was coming across to help him out. No offense to Ogban, he had a good game, but his delivery in the box was probably the one thing that let him down was his final ball all day. I don't think he put that much of a decent cross in. Because I mean, they could have had a 5, 6, 7 had he been able to put a better ball in and find a man. So surely Dan Burn should be thinking, right, fuck it, he's got past me, let him go. Hopefully Botman can sort him out. I'll try and get back into a decent position. And if he tries to cut back, I might be there to be able to get a foot in. But he decides to carry on tugging him.
If you go on players' reactions as well, have a look at Dan Burn's face after he's done it.
Yeah, he knows, isn't he?
He knew, right? And then he had when the penalty gave, he smiled and went over the ref. Because Dan Burn's one of these ones. If things don't go right, he'll make sure that he lets them know. He knew he'd give that fucking penalty away, and it was he got caught wrong side, and it was a poor decision. It was a penalty all day.
Yeah, it was. Puts it away comfortably. Second time of asking, went the exact same way. Thought Dubravka might have learned and gone that way because I thought he was always going to go the same way again. But the frustrating thing about me was when we conceded the fourth, because I thought we panicked as a team on the pitch. I don't think it was anything to do with Eddie Howe and tactics on the sideline. I just think when we went 3-2 down, the players panicked and wanted to get straight back into the game, and they lost all the shape.
Yeah,
and that contributes to the fourth goal. Adebayor gets in on the right-hand side. There's nobody there. He slots it into the bottom corner, and Pandalorian goes around the ground. It's like, Jesus Christ. Luton fans are going mental, as they would. But I personally put that goal down to just absolute pure chaos after conceding the third, being embarrassed a little bit because we should be beating Luton at home. The players knew it. They knew they had to get back into the game quickly, but they did it the wrong way and they just lost all their shape completely.
Yeah. If people's pointing the finger at Dan Burn, you have a look at Trippier's position where the ball break down on that goal. break it down and look how far Trippier's up the pitch when it breaks down, and it just allows Doherty to go into that area where it breaks down. And it just
Forrest all over again, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's that Gibbs White situation where just people are beyond the ball. Goes into Barkley. Barkley instead of, do you know what it is? I thought he's going to shoot here, and he's just calm, plays it outside, and he just drills it in the bottom corner 4-2. And I just cannot believe what do you know what it is? I cannot believe I cannot believe what I'm watching.
Yeah, and it was panic, wasn't it? It was pure panic.
It was just a self-destruct button from Newcastle United.
Yeah.
And the game, even though it was 3-2, that game was so in our hands. It was unbelievable. And then to go 4-2 down in a crack, and I'm thinking, this could be anything, right? Mm. But I'm just thinking, what's Newcastle United doing? But again, fair play to Luton. No matter what situation they were in, they were always going to play this way. And when we scored to knock the stuffing out of them, it just didn't faze them. They just kept going and just started. Do you know? Like I said again, fair play to them. The way they started, the way they finished, it was brilliant.
Yeah. So we make the substitutions finally. Harvey Barnes comes on for Miggy. I thought that was a bit of a strange substitution. I thought Murphy was having the poor game than Miggy.
Yeah,
I would have took Murphy off personally for Barnes. And Tino comes on for Dan Burn, which was the right decision to make, just too late, unfortunately. But we get back into the game, and it is an unbelievable crosser on Bruno on the right, with the right outside of his foot, wasn't it, to the back post? And Kieran Trippier finishes it like a pro on his left foot into the bottom corner. And as soon as we scored that, and I knew it was still a long way to go, there was still 25 minutes, probably 30 minutes because of the injury time. I was like, we're back in this, and we could win this. And it was a great finish, wasn't it? And what a pass, though. The pass just was like, oh, God, I want to watch that again.
Yeah, see, that's the example of what I said before was when all the stick goes to Dan Burn. Unfortunately, Dan Burn cannot have that little bit of. You'll forget the bad. You'll forget the bad side of what he's done. Right now, Kieran Trippier was at fault for that fourth goal because his positional play was absolutely terrible. Right.
Yeah.
But then he pops up and scores. I mean, the ball in from. I mean, the play ourselves, right, was absolutely great. But the ball inside, the vision for Bruno to see that round the outside. And a curler one like that, inch perfect, and Trippier's come round the back. And again, Morris switched off and let Trippier go around the other side. And do you know what? The volley itself, mine was controlled, was absolutely great.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was a great finish. So everybody, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's going to get in Kieran Trippier. What about the goal before? But no taking away from the finish. Fantastic goal.
Yeah, this is the problem. It's the risk reward, isn't it? But I just think when we went 3-2 down, we just panicked and went too gung ho. When we went to 4-2, we kind of had to go gung ho, and things had to work out for us, and they did. They fell perfectly. The fourth goal, the equaliser. It's great to see Harvey Barnes back. I thought he made a massive impact when he came on. And again, it was a very dangerous situation because we lost the ball, and had we not got a very important tackle in, they were on the break. Luckily, it was a great tackle, and I think it was Shaw, wasn't it?
No, Miley.
Was it Miley? Miley manages to win the ball back, and it falls nicely to Barnes, who takes a couple of touches, and 20 yards out, he has hit that sweetly with his left foot into the bottom corner. Because I thought, he's going to just hit the target here, and he just poof, and it flew in, and it was so caressed. It was a beautiful finish. And then at that point, I went nuts because I was like, right, we've got 20 minutes, we're going to win this. But the goal itself, Harvey Barnes, it's great to see him back, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, again, go back to the Ross Barkley goal. How important the tackle is. How important, what in good areas of the pitch where Jacob Murphy and Sean Longstaff just hung legs and just tried to do that. Miley was the ball there to be won. Bang. In. Good tackle.
Yeah.
Into Harvey Barnes. And do you know what it is? It was like a Kevin De Bruyne, right? Didn't panic.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Arrest that ball. Past the goalkeeper in the bottom corner. And I was with you, mind. I looked now, there's going to be loads of injury time here. We're going to go on and win this. And it was a right time to score. We were right up. But you know what? I thought the crowd at times yesterday was very flat. and it took a few things. It took us to go behind for the crowd to get up.
To wake up, yeah.
Yeah. And then when we scored that, the crowd was right on top, and I just thought, you know what it is, we're going to go up and get some of here. Another thing I would like to say, when Callum Wilson came on, mate, I thought he looked sharp. I thought he looked a handful. Right, he looked the right handful up against a good centre half, and it changed the dimension of the way we played. He pinned that, he pinned the centre half in, which I thought at times the referee was poor because he got manhandled.
Yeah.
But I like I say, I thought Wilson was, when he came on, looked a very good thing. But I thought we were going to get right on top, and especially when we played in, and Bartley nearly scored again. And he nearly curled that in the top corner. If you have a look where the goalkeeper was going to the right, it hit the deflection off the arse of the defender, and it was going. It was going. He could have scored another one. Which God,
it was end to end, wasn't it?
Dreamland.
I was very disappointed in our last 15 minutes. I thought Luton controlled the game very well in especially the last 10 minutes. And then going into injury time, they kept on the ball, they wasted time, they did everything we should have done against City. I thought they did that superbly, but I thought we panicked too much in the last 15 minutes. We tried to play the ball too quickly, too long. I know Wilson was pinning the defender back, but we still got to stick to our game plan, haven't you? You've still got to play it through midfield. You've still got to create the chances. We did create one chance, and it was Murphy who got on the end of it, and I thought he was going to stick it in, and he put it over the bar from 2 yards out. It was a difficult angle, a difficult one to control, but all he's got to do is get it on target, and we've won the game.
Who put the cross in for that one again? Because it was a great cross.
I think it was Barnes.
It was Barnes, yeah.
Fired it across.
It
was hit quite hard, but you've got to be sticking them away at this level.
Do you know what it is? I just thought everybody thought we had the goddamn right just to beat Luton because of the Luton Town.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think if I might be wrong here, are they seventh in the last up there, the top of the form guide?
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
right up there. So they're in form. They're doing well. And do you know what it is? Down there, they've battered us, I thought. And they've come up to St James's Park, and they've made a real account of themselves to say, we're not just going to let this crowd, we're not just going to let yous have a go at us. We are going to take the game to yous. And do you know what it is? They've done exactly that, and fair play at them. It was an entertaining game.
Oh, it was Bruno who put the ball in. I thought it was Barnes.
Oh, it was Bruno. I thought it was Barnes. Right?
My memory's going by.
It was an entertaining game, right? And
it was from start to finish.
And as much as, do you know what it is? As much as we say we've had that game in our hands, Luton Town would say we've had that game in our hands and threw it away. So I think the draw has been a fair result of two teams just having a right good go, being bad defending on both teams, being great finishing on both sides. But if someone told me would take 4 points off Villa.
I was going to ask that question. I mean, at the start, before the Villa game, if they said 4 points in the next two games, you would have snapped the hands off for it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, because you would have reversed the fixture.
You reversed it, yeah.
I would have took a
just a Newcastle thing to do, isn't it?
Of course it would. It's just because we set the world alight. Don't get us wrong, mind. We played well at Villa, but Villa were poor on the night. Right?
Yeah.
They were poor on the night. And we took every advantage of that and done well. Luton Town came to St James's Park and made a right good account of themselves, and they want to be going away with a head held high. Fans as well, full allocation, massive journey for them, and they were loud for about brilliant. I just thought I thought they were absolutely tremendous from start to finish.
I've been sent this. I didn't notice this, but this is brilliant. This is in the Middlesbrough and Sunderland game. Spot the famous fan.
I was creased.
That is brilliant. That's like us taking T-Rex to an Everton game, isn't it? I love it. Absolutely love it. But I'll tell you what, though, Luton could have won the game in the 95th minute. Ogban got in just where Adebayor scored his goal on the right-hand side. And luckily for us, his finishing was poor because that was a great break from Luton. And I honestly thought, oh, crap, we're going to lose this now. Because any team could have won it.
Yeah.
It was just, luckily, it was a poor finish. Thank God.
Like I said, it was a crazy day at St James's Park to see it. Emotional roller coaster for fans, but like I said, 4 points out of 2 games. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, take it on the chin. I mean, there's the stats from the game. We had 19 shots out of 11. They had 8 on target. We only had 6. Possession we had more of. Surprisingly, they had more possession in the first half. We had obviously more of it in the second half. Our passing accuracy let us down yesterday. I think that was the big thing that really let us down. It's let us down in a few games recently, 74%, especially the Fulham game as well. We were poor passing, so that needs to improve. But yeah, I mean, I've got no complaints on the result. I thought Luton fully deserved their draw. And again, like I said, they literally could have won it. We're very lucky to even get a point. But this is obviously the big worry. Gordon was seen leaving on crutches and a boot. Thankfully, today he was spotted in the Metro Centre. But again, he was on crutches, but he had normal shoes on. I don't think he would have been allowed in the Metro Centre, which a lot of people have been said, if the injury wasn't as bad as what it is. I think the crutches are a precaution just to keep the weight off it. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, he's went off with a twisted ankle.
Yeah.
And what they'll do is they'll just be precaution with the boot. It obviously looks worse than what it is. The good thing is he's got a week off. If it was bad, he'd have been foot up, resting at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's been in a lot of pain, which is normal. After you do that, you'll not. Sometimes you can carry on, sometimes you can't. It's as simple as that. But I've twisted the ankle on a Saturday, and I've been playing again on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. I wouldn't be too worried if he's out and about on his feet today, especially 24 hours after playing football.
Good. Right. Dan Burn went straight from St James's Park tonight to Alan Shearer ball, which raises huge pounds for the Alan Shearer Foundation. Alan rinsed him. Shame he didn't turn up at 3 p.m. and he took it in great spirit. Don't cry off. Tough day, but he is an epitome of everything good about this Nufc team. So I'm going to have to disappear for 1 minute because kids crying. You're going to have your say on Dan Burn and then I'll come back. But this is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. What with Dan Burn on that one as well, everybody seemed to have a right go at him on that as well, which is pretty astonishing for me, because if he's gonna turn up for the foundations and stuff like that, fair play to him. It's all for a good cause. It just goes to show that he's he loves the club and it just wants to do everything right. And if Alan Shearer's rinsed him, fair play to him. He'll take it on the chin, as he will, laughed it off. But I think he knows deep down that he didn't perform to his best on the day. But yeah, he'll bounce back. I'm no doubt he will. Will he start the next game? Probably not. But you know what it is? We just got to get behind him. Got to get behind the club. Got to get behind the players, and just keep going. But that's about that on Dan Burn.
Good timing. They raised £210,000 that night as well.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, and that's credit to them. And I can't believe people are complaining because you went to a charity do. I mean, it's mental, isn't it? That just shows you what social media is like. The other thing I want to point out, once I just get that off the screen, there we go, that's better. So Eddie Howe, when I'm done, has been absolutely outstanding since he arrived at the football club. He played a huge part in our brilliant season last year and our excellent defensive record. 4 days ago, I thought he was magnificent against Aston Villa. He was a big part in why we played so well. But as I said earlier, there's more than one aspect of the game to think about when I picked the team. So one of the reasons why he got picked for the game yesterday was because of his aerial duties, because of their free kicks. Didn't really work out because they scored from a free kick. I think a lot of people have pointed it out now. Dan Burn can't play against pace because pace will always win. Tino's got to come in for the next game, hasn't he? But people have got to remember that Dan Burn was bought for £15 million to patch up a defence that was leaking goals. Did that exceptionally well when we stayed up, then followed it into the next season. I know Dan Burn's not good enough where we want to go, But until that's addressed, you've just got to get behind the player, haven't you? Like you said, and it just shows you that, you know, Eddie Howe thinks very highly of him. Is that Eddie Howe's downfall?
You've got to remember that Dan Burn only played at left back because Matt Targett was injured.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, he's a big, tall centre half that lacks pace. He's always going to be vulnerable against pace. And the set play, because people have been so critical, I can see if people he's brought in for set players. We, like, for last season, for me, I was saying as well, why don't we not score enough from set players with the aerial people we've got in that box?
Well, we just started scoring. We did quite well. We've done Fulham, we've done Villa.
Yeah. And you're always going to... I'm just repeating what I've said, that if you're going to put a 6'7" lad at left full back that lacks pace, he's always going to find himself tough against pacey wingers. But his blocks, his headers, his defensive shape and everything like that, for me, it stands better than his one-on-ones, because his overall average play is better than what he's isolated against his one-on-one. So every time he's up against a one, he might get beat 2 or 3 times, but he'll win 5 headers, he'll win 6 tackles, he'll win 7 blocks. So his stats will always overcome his one-on-ones. It's how we protect Dan Burn, so we don't get hurt when he's in them one-on-one situations. Yeah. Again, like when you drop players in behind, like there's so many times
like
where
Joelinton, like Willock. Yeah.
When teams play against us, Bruno Guimaraes, right, is in that middle. Sometimes there's 3 players on him to stop him playing, because he knows when he's on, they'll hurt us. So what we've got to do is protect our weakness by when we're out of possession, or what we're doing is we protect them weak areas when we can. So we drop players in to make things difficult for him. You don't leave him isolated one-on-one time and time again, because he's going to get his arse ripped out. Yeah. So you've got to drop players in on his toes. You've got to, like we did with Joelinton. Like Almiron does it with Trippier. Almiron does it with Trippier loads, mate, so much times.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
So he comments Trippier so many times, and it makes Trippier even look even better than what he is.
Yeah.
And Burn on that side. That's why we miss Joe Willock so much on that left-hand side as well, because Joe Willock protects areas where Joelinton does it so well. But when you've got Miley on that side, or even Sean Longstaff they don't do that. So your fullbacks are isolated.
Yeah. And don't forget, Dan Burn played a lot at left back for Brighton as well. So I don't agree with this thing that he's not a left back, because he is a left centre back and he can also play left back. I know he's not a full out and out left back, but he's played at left back. And I saw him do it against Man City when he brung that ball down from up the sky, and bloody Pep was applauding him for his touch and stuff like that. He's playing at left back.
Right,
so he does play at left back as well.
Like I say, Baz, right? I'm the left back brigade. I watch a lot of left backs in the Premier League, and far not the worst left back in this Premier League, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. The worrying thing is, though, is that this season, from going from having the best defensive record to the worst defensive record in the last 5 games, conceded 15 goals, we've faced 46 shots on target, 99 shots in general, expected goals against 17.3. If only games were played on paper, that would be absolutely amazing to watch. But that's not good from us, is it? That's not what built our success on last season. Last season, we built our success on being very difficult to beat.
Yeah, but everybody will just think the back 4 there and Nick Pope. And to be honest, that goes to show how vital Nick Pope is to our football club, by the way.
Yes.
As much as people say, oh, he can't kick a ball, he's useless with his feet, this, that, and the other. No. You've got to remember that back 4, I say the old guard, we had the best defensive record, and I think Nick Pope played a huge part of that. But the midfield and your wide areas played a huge contribution to that.
It was a proper team effort when we were defending, wasn't it?
Joe Willock's, your Joe Lintons, Almiron, Bruno. For some reason this year, I don't know if we've changed the way we're going forward as a football club. On the pitch is we seem, when things break down, we have far too many players beyond the ball. So we are getting absolutely crucified when it breaks down. And it was the same yesterday. There was times where we had far too many players beyond the football when it breaks down.
Yeah.
It happens against Notts Forest. It's Man City. There was an easy one there for Man City. More crying out for a 6 last season, which I just think we were more compact.
We didn't have a 6 last season. This is the thing. We played it well in midfield.
But this is what it is, Baz. Have we changed slightly the way we're going? Is it just players just doing what they want, or we're not not listening to what Eddie Howe's trying to do? Fair enough, you can go on a training pitch and do everything like that, right? And work at it, and Eddie Howe will go, yeah, that's great. But when you're on that pitch, you've got to make a professional decision as a player to, I've got to make that run, even though my manager hasn't said I've got to do that, or it's the shape how the manager set us out. But you've got to have player management on that pitch to make sure that your shape's right, your shape's constructively solid, and then when you're finding yourself beyond the ball, all 4 midfielders. If that was me and my midfielders were beyond there, I'll be going off at mind time and time again. Going, if I'm making these runs forward, you've got to secure my back 4 mind. But again, it's something just ain't right defensively as a unit, not a back 4, not a goalkeeper as a unit. We are just not as solid as last year.
Yeah. Paul's saying I think those stats are skewed because of the players are missing in front of them. That's why we're highlighting the stats, Paul, because the players that are missing contributed so much last season to such a strong defence. And the midfield 3 are the same 3 we're picking week in, week out because we're missing players. So they can't keep that intensity up because we've got a 17-year-old who's flagging. We've got Bruno who wants to get forward, and you've got Sean Longstaff who's blowing out his backside after a certain amount of times because we're just relying on 3 midfielders to do all the work. In front of a back 4 that's used to having put behind them as well. So the stats prove correctly, don't they, that we are missing players.
If you look at Sean Longstaff's play, you'll always see him making them forward runs, right? Or you'll always break things down in the opponent's area. When have you seen Sean Longstaff make a tackle in the 6-yard box?
Very rare.
When was the last time you've seen Sean Longstaff make a tackle on the edge of the 18-yard box? So I'm trying to break that. There you go. I'm trying to break things down here as a midfielder. Now, Bruno will do it, right? Yeah. And then Miley doesn't do that either. So you've got a 1-man band in the middle of a 3 that wants to do that. Yeah. So you've got Joe Linton that'll do it. Joe Willock that'll do it. Yeah. So and then obviously Almiron comes in on that side. And then you've got Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon he'll do what? He might do it once or twice in a game, but he'll do 35 forward runs. That's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you another thing that Michael points out here about missing Joe Willock's running. We do massively miss him because what Joe Willock used to do was take the ball almost on the edge of our box, and then he would literally use his pace and his skill to get us 20, 30 yards up the pitch. Might win a free kick, play a simple pass, but he always got us out of trouble. And we are missing that. He was very clever on the ball.
Look at your question, what you just said. Look at your example, what you just said there, Baz. He's picked the ball up from our own 18-yard box. So he's in the right areas to defend it, then take it up the pitch. Sean Longstaff won't do that, and Miley won't do that.
Yeah, exactly. There's another thing I want to point out about Byrne that I didn't realise. Apparently he's having an injection before every game in his back to help with the pain. Now, for me, again, is that Eddie Howe asking him to do something he shouldn't be doing because he could be injuring the player even further? But for me, Tino's got to come in the next game. I hope he does, but we'll soon find out. Last little mention before we leave the show, because it's been over an hour. I can't believe we've gone an hour already. A lot of people think success is simple. You know, they play Football Manager. We've got the richest owners in the world. They think it's literally just going to be, right, get rid of all these players, bring in all of these players, and then we're going to be challenging at the top of the league very, very simply. This is what success actually looks like. What people think it's a straight line. It's not. What it really looks like is a very squiggly line in the middle. You start off nicely, things get messy. You have to pivot. You have to change your direction a lot. You have to work with what you've got. And then eventually, success from hard work and right business decisions, you end up on the straight line. But it takes a lot of squiggly lines to get success, doesn't it, Ian?
Yeah. Where the Man City story is the best. And I mean,
Exactly.
you look at everybody's got to have a model of Man City. And if you look from where they've came from, I know the players that they bought in straight away were like, you went, I can't believe the Sean Wright Phillipses, and I mean Vincent Company. I
They brought in the first big player was Robinho, wasn't it?
Robinho.
And he thought he was going to Man United.
And I think Mark Hughes was the manager, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
And obviously, I think they bought Vincent Company for absolutely pennies.
Oh, come on. I'm sorry. That comment, man. How did Klopp do it in one season? Klopp didn't get success in one season. He didn't win the league in his first season. Come on. And Liverpool were a much better facilitated club, weren't they? And I mean, they already had money behind them. They had quality players in their squad.
Has Jurgen Klopp spent
like £1 billion, hadn't he? To win one league title.
Right, to win a league title. They should be winning FA Cups and they should be winning the Carabao Cups, because that's to win titles. How long has it took Klopp to do that?
Exactly. It was fifth season, wasn't it? Fourth or fifth season?
Yeah. But it's not. He's been back to the hilt, you know.
Yeah.
But getting back to, you've got to. For me, Man City, you've just got to look right the way how they've started and what they've done. I know they threw money at it, but they haven't bought the best of players straight away. They've bought. Obviously, the stepping stone players is what they're called.
Yeah.
Where they get an average player, then they'll move them on, and then they'll buy the bigger player in, because that's what you've got to do, and we have got to do that. I totally agree with that. The restrictions have helped. %1,000,000.
Yeah, restrictions are massively different now.
Yeah, massively different now, which is going to be so much more difficult for us. But in the future, with the young talent we've got, what we're signing, be patient. We will sign the big stars coming in the summer. Hopefully, with more revenue and stuff. Exactly, fingers crossed. So, this window throughout the whole of the Premier League has been disastrous, and the Premier League need to look at themselves, because clubs have suffered through it with this financial fair play. So, you know, we've got some good young ones coming through as well. I mean,
we've got to be patient, haven't we?
My mate's a Man United fan, and he said Lewis Miley is potentially an England midfielder for the future. And then him from Man United, who played today. I forget his name now, because obviously
Kobe or someone, Coney or the young lad in midfield.
Yeah, and he goes, Miley and him will be the future England stars. So
could be, but again, we've got to be patient. You know, the owners are not going to just throw money in the window because this season's gone poorly. I think they've looked at this season. That's him, Manu. Thank you, Robbie. He's a Man United fan, Robbie, so he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. You know, the owners have looked at this season and went, right, we can't get top four. There's no point in splashing out big in this January window to fix a problem, because we're not going to be able to fix the problem with a signing and get top four, because we're too far behind. So I think that, and we've said it before, Ian, and I've said it a lot of times, we are building a war chest for the summer now. We're going to have to get rid of 6-7 players because they're out of contract, and we don't want them to be re-signing contracts. The Hendricks, Dummets, Richies, you know, them will free up space. We have to then bring in talent. We've got certain areas we need to improve on because of aging players as well. Shaw's got one more year in him after this season. You know, we need a right centre back because of that. We still need a left back if Hull's not the answer. We still need a right winger to push Miggy, because the quality of the goals and output is not there compared to Gordon on the left-hand side. Yeah. Barnes is there, but you still need another. We need another striker, because we know Wilson and Isak can't cope together to see out a full season. You know, there's so many areas that we need to really bolster in. And I think they've said, yeah, this season's sort of a write-off. We accept that we literally overachieved, but we're not going to change our game plan of who we're signing, when we're signing, and how much we're spending. We're going to carry on our route. So even if we get Champions League next season, they'll still go on the same route. People will be crying out, "Oh, we need 3 more players." They might just think, "Well, we're going to stick on our path. We'll buy 1 or 2." And this is where the fans have got to have a bit of a realization. Until FFP changes, there is a certain level that we can spend, and the owners are doing it brilliantly, and they've been praised by UEFA as well, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, obviously, the club knew that we had players coming back better than us, because obviously Eddie Howe plays his poker faces in his press conference. So we all ask the questions: when's he going to be back? When's he going to be back? When's he going to be back? And Wilson and Barnes obviously comes back at a great time. Isak's out short time, but then obviously you've got the other ones that are nearly right back at it. So we're going to, so they must have knew, right, that squad's good. Darren Neal said it straight away in his interview. He goes, "I was the one that I thought we needed the body in, definitely." Because obviously losing Joe Linton, I was petrified. But with the players coming in, like you said, I think they're just trying to get over the line this year to get us into a reasonable position in the league where we'll get a little bit of revenue coming back in regarding money-wise. And I just think we've got so much potential going out the doors that can bring movement in the doors without breaking financial fair play. Wages wise with some of the players that leave is just ridiculous. So, and like I've just seen there, Minter, I've seen flashes of him. Watch him in the African nations, and I think he looks a real direct,
explosive talent, isn't he?
Yeah, on that right hand side. So hopefully we've got, and then obviously the new lad from Man City that was just signed, which is again youth, which is good,
That's a question to end the show, isn't it? What ex-Prem League team now plays in non-league football?
Which ex-Premier League team? Which is another player?
Which ex-Prem League team now play in the non-league football from Dave?
I've just seen him from ex-player from Liverpool, Ogie.
There's been a few who were playing non-league. I know a couple went to York City from Leeds when they retired from football. Is it Swindon or Oldham, maybe? Must be Oldham. Oldham in non-league now?
Never.
Jesus. Didn't realise they're falling that far. I don't think Hall will be signed. I'm not too sure what's going on with Hall. I really don't understand it. Oxford were never in the Premier League.
Baz, I don't know if you've heard
Oldham.
Haven't Chelsea got to raise 100 million in such a space of time? Because of this now?
By the end of the summer, I think it is. Yeah. I think Chelsea will easily raise 100 million by the end of the summer.
Now, because what people were saying is we might get them cheaper than what the original price was.
Potentially, because they're desperate.
But for me, I just don't. Eddie Howe must see him in training, and he just mustn't be setting things alight. Because he should, he's a natural left back. He should be playing. It's rather than playing Tino on the left hand side out of position for balance.
He had a good game against Man United at Old Trafford, didn't he? I don't understand why he's not. Unless something like you said, something behind the closed doors we're not seeing. Some rumours are that he always turns up late or something like that. That's something where Eddie Howe's not going to put up with. But he doesn't look the kind of type that would do that, though, does he?
No, because with all the the videos and what they do behind closed doors with all the different stuff, he's always part of that, and he always seems to have a smile on his face. So I don't know. Yeah,
I don't understand it. I really don't. But yeah, I suppose we'll soon see, because let's face it, Dan Burn plays next week against Forest. Gibbs White will have a field day again, won't he? So let's hope that doesn't happen.
But the thing is, Gibbs White didn't go down that side; he came through the middle. So that's the situation where we need to address. Hopefully, we've learned. Ross Bartley, I thought at times yesterday, everybody's ranting and raving about Ross Bartley, right? But the amount of time and space that player had on the ball yesterday, any Premier League player at this level has that time and space should hurt teams, and he did. and everybody's going, we should sign Ross Barkley. Bullshit. Not for me. Like,
I've had so many arguments today about that one today. It's been
not for
fucking
me.
hilarious.
Not for me, mate. It's just because he plays that much. He had that much time and space to play in yesterday. Didn't get his wrong mind. He is a good player, and
he is a good player,
and he has got a good footballing brain, and he will pick these passes out. But if you fucking hell, Maradona would have, you know, his whatever, he would have picked them passes if he had that time to play in. But we've got to sort something out for next week.
Yes, we do, definitely. Like I said, the thing on Ross Barkley, very good player, doing really well for Luton. He's 30. He's not on our radar. He's not someone I would even consider buying. It's a non-starter for me. So just because you played well against us doesn't mean you signed the player.
Do you know
if that was the case, we would sign Chris Wood after he scored a hat-trick at St James's Park.
Do you know what it is, Baz? At the start of the transfer window, you would go, should we get Ross Barkley? And a lot of the fans on Twitter and everyone going, too old.
Yeah, exactly.
They went, too old, we're not looking at him. But just because he's had too good, didn't get us. When he played against us at their place, he ran the show. And he's ran the show times as well. So he's had 2 good games. But
yes,
if you look at his stats, he has had his most successful games against Newcastle United.
Yeah. I agree, and I looked at all his stats, and he's got a decent rating on SofaScore. But if you actually go through the games, he turns up for half of them and doesn't turn up for another half.
Yeah,
so he's not consistent.
Newcastle as well, hasn't he?
He scored 3 goals and 3 assists all season.
Yeah, but I think
there you go.
I think it's when he's playing for his other clubs as well, he's been more successful against Newcastle.
Yeah, he has scored against us for Everton as well, didn't he? When we had that 3-3 draw, wasn't it? Or we beat them 3-2. Perez scored the winner. I think he scored in that game for Everton, if I can remember rightly. So, okay. Oh, God, yeah, let's not talk about that. All right, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button as well, if you don't mind. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diet Crow. Amazing clobber. 20% off for everybody who watches this channel. Link is in the description below. There's also football prizes, absolutely amazing raffles that they do. Some of the stuff that they get a hold of is amazing. Link is in the description where you can buy tickets, and this is the latest raffle. It's an Alan Shearer signed shirt, but with a little TV in it showing every single goal he scored. I can't believe how good it is. I am going to try and do a raffle for charity. These are the prizes that I've got so far, all out of my own pocket, all collected by myself. I am looking for donations to it as well, and hopefully we can raise some good amount of money for charity and do Alan Shearer proud, because it'll be mainly his charity that gets it. Shakespeare has no on me. Oh God, yeah. Glad you enjoyed it, Robbie, and thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back Friday night for the look ahead to the Forest game, and then I'll do the watch along on Saturday because I've got half a day at work. But cheers, Ian, as always, and thank you. Yeah, thank you to the chat for keeping us going, and we will see you on Friday. Take care till then.